Welcome to this explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here today because, frankly, we're going to completely flip the script on how we look at education. I want you to take a second and just reimagine the classroom. For way too long, we've treated it like this sterile factory, right? Just a place of pacing guides and endless compliance. But what if we looked at it as a magical, literally Marvel Cinematic Universe-level science lab of learning? A place where both teachers and students are recognized for their unique, explosive brilliance. Today we're unpacking some fascinating source material that challenges the last quarter century of top-down education reform, and honestly, offers a totally transformational countermodel.
Okay, let's dive into this, because there's a concept here that hits incredibly hard. The source material refers to this as the intelligence insult. For 25 years, education reform has basically operated on this cold, unspoken premise that the professionals standing in front of 30 children every single day just aren't intelligent enough to be given professional latitude, so instead of equipping them, the system scripts them, it paces them, it tests them into compliance. It just assumes a publisher sitting in another state somehow knows better than the teacher in the room who is making 1,000 diagnostic judgments an hour.
You can really see this when you contrast the two major approaches. On one side, you have the American accountability system, which is built entirely on teacher suspicion. It relies heavily on publisher scripts and spreadsheet metrics, and, surprise, surprise, this leads directly to the deprofessionalization of educators, massive teacher attrition, and plummeting literacy scores. On the flip side, we have the Scandinavian model, specifically looking at systems like Sweden's. This model is built fundamentally on teacher trust. It actually grants authority to the practitioner in the room and focuses on the whole child, tracking academic, social-emotional, and executive function development completely without that punishing, high-stakes testing apparatus.
Section 1. Twice exceptional teachers.
To actually fix this broken system, we have to completely change how we view the educators themselves. Now, you've probably heard the term twice exceptional, or 2E. Clinically speaking, it's a pretty narrow diagnostic term for a student who is both gifted and has a learning disability. But we must expand this. We must treat teachers like they're twice exceptional. On one side, they are brilliant in some aspect that feeds their fire, and that fire transfers directly to the child or their children in their classroom. On the other side, they have a deficit that they know about, and through working that deficit, it helps them transform themselves into a better teacher.
The source material gets deeply personal here, and it's incredibly powerful. Speaking directly to this experience, for me as a teacher, being dyslexic and dysgraphic, that was my transformation. That deficit wasn't a failure at all. It was the exact fire that allowed a real connection with the classroom. By actively working through those own personal learning difficulties, the transformation into a better teacher happens organically, because you actually understand what it feels like to sit in that room and struggle to just decode a page or write a single sentence.
So, the crucial point is this. As a teacher, I was able to share that struggle, that difficulty with my students, showing them that everybody is twice exceptional, and only through that struggle are you going to grow. When a teacher shares their vulnerability and their own learning difficulties, it profoundly empowers the students. They start to embrace their own deficits, not as some kind of dead end, but as the very soil where their real growth happens.
Section 2. Solving the 2 Sigma problem.
Now that we've established the twice exceptional nature of the educator, let's look at what happens when that transformed teacher brings out the absolute brilliance in kids that the system has already written off. This number, 2, represents a massive challenge in education known as the 2 Sigma problem. Back in 1984, educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom found that students who receive one-on-one tutoring perform, on average, 2 standard deviations better than students in a conventional classroom. Just to put that into perspective, that is a massive jump. We're talking going from the 50th percentile all the way up to the 98th.
Which naturally brings us to the million-dollar question. How do we deliver tutoring-level results at classroom scale, affordably for everyone? According to our sources, Sean Taylor encountered this exact problem as a first-year special education teacher in a Tucson classroom. He had these students the system had completely written off, but instead of relying on shiny, expensive publisher programs, he built a deliberate structure that solved the 2 Sigma problem right there in the room.
He did it through what became known as the 6 mechanisms of reading boot camp. Massive volume of reading, immediate feedback loops, mastery learning, one-on-one attention inside cooperative teams, effective engagement, and systematic instruction. Look, a tutor's advantage isn't magic. It's simply structure, dosage, feedback speed, and attention. By turning 25 kids into pairs of tutors using cooperative structures and, most importantly, high joy, you can actually replicate that one-on-one tutoring environment for everyone all at once.
Section 3, the SEARCH framework.
And this brilliantly illustrates the instructional masterpiece that makes it all possible. The classroom isn't managed like some rigid behavioral checklist, it's run much more like a bustling art studio or a Socratic forum. These are the 6 pillars they use, known as the SEARCH framework: Socratic inquiry, emotional intelligence, academic language, reading and reasoning, cooperative learning, and honestly, my personal favorite, handicraft. Drawn straight from the Scandinavian tradition, this wisdom of the hands pairs fine motor work directly with academic learning. It's not just tacked-on enrichment either. It builds resilience, self-reliance, and an internalized high standard of work.
Now you might be wondering, how long does it actually take to turn a struggling classroom around? Well, the magic number is roughly 20. It takes about 20 days to internalize a new academic habit. That's exactly why this intervention uses the emotional structure of summer camp, novelty, team building, joy, and cooperation, rather than the frankly depressing emotional structure of traditional remediation. We basically have 20 days to hook them before they psychologically drop out.
Section 4. Brilliance in every student.
All of this builds to our ultimate goal: how the trust placed in a twice exceptional teacher transfers directly down to their students. Now, what's really interesting about this is that a rigid publisher script is structurally incapable of seeing the individual brilliance of these kids. For example, picture a dyslexic student who can't decode a worksheet, but has an incredibly deep working knowledge of medieval siege warfare. Or a restless student who absolutely cannot sit still for a phonics drill, but can deliver super nuanced analytical points about a character's motives. Or a non-reader who can draw the most vivid scenes. A script calls these children deficient, but a trusted teacher, they call them brilliant. To truly harness that brilliance, we have to adopt a very specific diagnostic stance. First, you assume every child is brilliant, no exceptions. Second, you actively look for the unique form that brilliance takes. And third, you use that capability to build a cognitive bridge back to the lacking skill. We absolutely have to lead with capability. We let them use their strengths in oracy, the arts, or performance to carry them across the learning gap well before we drill the dry mechanics of literacy. So what should you really take away from this explainer? It's this: we have got to stop leading with deficits. We must dismantle the assumption that a top-down script is needed at all. It is well past time to give teachers back their diagnostic authority and return actual professional respect to the classroom. When you treat both teachers and students as absolutely undeniably brilliant and embrace their twice exceptional nature, amazing things come together. I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on today. What happens to a generation of students when a system finally stops telling their teachers they aren't smart enough to be trusted? Imagine the explosive potential, the sheer joy, and the unparalleled learning that could be unleashed. Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me today. Keep asking the big questions, keep looking for the brilliance in everyone, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.